opting 23 shots. Pistons on the home court tonight against Philadelphia. We'll tip that up at 7 p.m. right here on 97.1 The Ticket. Pistons losing their home opener the other night. Meanwhile, in the World Series, Game 4 tonight. We'll kick off with the Nationals leading the Astros 2-1. Anibal Sanchez was a starter and loser for Washington last night as the Astros took Game 3 4-1. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 9701theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Turn that up, will you?
You love that, Harry. All right. It is 9:01. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glanz.
Who doesn't like AC/DC at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning?
Everyone loves them.
Let's go. Turn it up. Let's do this.
They're already out on the road, Harry. Of course, everyone is headed to the massive tailgates up at Lansing or East Lansing. Michigan State's got a tailgate, 3:30 start. Michigan at 7:30 tonight. I'm headed to that one. But first, we've got 1 hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Sam Mansour from our office. Hey, Sam, thanks for coming in today.
Good morning, and good morning on this beautiful fall day.
Michigan
fall day.
I'll go with that, Sam. As long as it doesn't rain yet, it's definitely a beautiful day out there. And you bring in some great real estate agent, Ken Terrell, Lisa Beth Riappel, you guys with Coldwell Banker. We're Manuel, the Northville office. It's really happening in Northville for the last 15, 20 years. We're going to get into all of that and a whole lot more. Of course, we're always sponsored by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289. You can call us here live in the studio all morning long at 248-539-9797.
So I want to ask Lisa and Ken, I want to ask you guys this. It's been busy in our office all month. Here we are at the end of October. Do you believe it's the end of October 2019? Is the purchase market in your area still very, very strong? Because it seems to be out here. It hasn't let up. Tell us about what's going on in your neck of the woods.
It's kind of interesting because we had a little bit of a slowdown towards the end of August, beginning of September, and it's just ramped up and gone crazy right now.
Yeah, so last week when we had our realtor guests on, we always asked them, what do you foresee in your market area? What do you foresee going on to the end of the fall into the wintertime? Because everybody theoretically says that the wintertime is slow. I don't see that this year. I mean, I'm feeling there's a strong sense of momentum and a strong sense of buyers out there looking for properties.
I would agree with you. Pending deals are up, and that's a precursor of October and November sales. Lisa's showing 8 houses in Royal Oak this afternoon. I have an open house at a new listing in Wixom. We're busy. It's like summertime, and it's a great time for buyers to get out there.
Well, that's good news for everybody to hear, because if you're sitting at home wondering if you should buy or sell your house now, don't listen to people when they say, hey, wintertime isn't any good, because, listen, all it takes is one person to buy your house, and there are plenty of buyers out there right now. There are plenty of buyers.
Well, also, you have a few months left for the year, so it's very good incentive for taxes.
Well, people want to, I'll tell you, it's a double-edged sword, because people they say they want to move before the end of the year, but then you have 2 major holidays coming up.
Right.
You have Thanksgiving and Christmas 6 weeks apart, and I don't know anybody that wants people traipsing through their house at Thanksgiving and Christmas time. But on the other side, if you're a motivated seller, and this is, I'm going to stay in my lane, but in your lane is you've got motivated people that want to sell houses.
Well, what we find is that there's a lot of people who want to close by Thanksgiving, so that they have those couple weeks before the Christmas and the New Year's to get everything they done, so that they can show it all off to the new family.
Yeah, that's right. By Christmas time, sure.
And also, if you had your house on the market for the last several months, you're starting to get, it came up last week, you're starting to get sort of nagged about the fact that it has to be pristine all the time. I mean, there's some work to keep your house on the market. You want to have that house pristine. So yes, basically it's a daily cleaning, making sure it's all dusted, ready to go, because that one buyer, as Harry mentioned, they might be coming by this weekend.
Oh, exactly. We give people, the photographs. We have professional photographs on of our listings. And what we tell people is, this is what your house has to look like when you leave in the morning.
Right.
I don't care if you put all of the clothes in the washing machine and every dish you own in the dishwasher. But this is what it has to look like.
Right, freshen everything up and make sure it looks like. It's interesting as we get into these months here, and, we got the holidays coming. I always tell some people, pick which one you want. You're either going to be, maybe you won't celebrate Thanksgiving in the new house, but if you can buy something and close in November, maybe it's right after the holiday. Maybe you're going to have the family in there for the holidays around Christmas time. But isn't it true that there's just less buyers out there? So that little bit less of competition is sort of a motivation for the buyers to get out there and maybe play around with that listing price a little bit, or maybe throw in some concessions.
You never know what'll work for the right buyer and the right seller, because for some sellers, it has to be the price. For some buyers, they need those concessions, and what you need to do is find the marriage where it's the right buyer and the right seller that have the right set of needs.
Yeah, it's situational. We always say that. And, sometimes it's occupancy. If somebody most
huge.
people right now don't want to move out right away. Okay? They want to stay there a little bit so they can get their affairs in order. And so it's the right occupancy. If you have somebody that wants to move in right away, that might not be the best thing for that seller. Or it could be reverse. It just depends. Like we say, it's always situational. It depends on the match and the fit. So everybody out there, look at home buying season. Everybody says, well, it's home buying season. You've heard us say, well, it's home buying season. Well, every day is home buying season if you're looking to buy a house, right? I guess there are just sometimes, if you go out today early in the morning, the house might look nicer than later today when it's supposed to rain. So you never know. It's an emotional purchase. It's an emotional attachment. And that's why curb appeal is such a big deal. But I like the people that walk into a house and they see a house as they're going to have it, not as it sits there today. So if you can go ahead and you can take a look at the house and it might need some work, I think that, that's a special talent. I don't have that talent. I'm just telling you that right now. I need to see it. I'm a visual guy. Like when I walk into a place, it looks good. I'm great. I can't take something and make it, if it's got orange.
You're
and
not
green,
visualizer. You're not a visualization.
I'm like, I'm a basic guy. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like, and that's the end of it. But, a lot of people have that talent where they can go ahead and make something out of nothing. Yeah. I just don't have that.
Yeah.
I think that's a big key of what staging is all about. It's to let people see how they could live in the house as opposed to how you live in the house. And that's really a hard emotional detachment for a lot of sellers.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is how it works for me. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily how it's going to work for the next person.
Yeah, I went to a closing yesterday. It was a lot of fun. I always try to get to all my purchase closings, and it really was fun. It was probably one of the better closings I've been to. Great sellers on the one side of the table, great buyers, sharing all sorts of information. Historical home built in 1895, completely renovated. The information back and forth in the room was just really positive. It was such a great scene. And then I had a chance to I'm friends with the clients too, and I had a chance to view the house. And just a really great thing. The sellers went back to the house and showed them how to operate the heated floors and different functionalities of the house. There's 2 furnaces. They talked about everything. And of course, the deal was already closed then. And just the love that each person appreciated. And even my buyers had another house they had sold, a really classic Tudor house, and they shared that same great emotions at the closing table with their buyers when they sold a few weeks ago. So it could be a lot of fun to buy real estate and really rewarding. And it's so great when you sit down at that closing table and everyone is on the same page. Those split closings, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Okay, fine. You want to use your own title company, but sit in the same room. I think there's so much. I couldn't believe the amount of knowledge that was shared at the closing table yesterday. So really I always look at real estate especially yesterday, wow, what a really fun business we're in and how exciting it is for the new buyers. And of course, the sellers with their opportunity to move on with their lives.
It's interesting because, shared closings or common closings are pretty common here. But I found out from a lot of our clients that come from outside of Michigan, that's not necessarily the norm of it. And they're like, what do you mean we're going to sit and look at the sellers when we close? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to gain that additional information? So here I was at the house and we were walking property lines last night and, the family had lived there for 22 years. So again, I always find the joy in those type of situations. And again, at the end of the day, when you are going through a mortgage process and you got to get your paperwork together, there's a lot of moving parts and it all comes together right at the end there. And you see both parties really with big smiles on their faces. It's a lot of fun.
Well, so good loans always close. They always do. Good loans always close. And what people out there don't like is giving us all the documentation. I mean, they can't, why do I need this? Why do you need to see my 401k? Why do you need to see all my bank statements? Why do you need to see all pages of my bank statements? Why do you need to see all the account numbers? Okay, it goes like this. Do you think we would ask you for all that documentation if we didn't need it? I mean, it's just part of the process. So I don't sell houses. You guys have a lot of things that you have to go through. We have a lot on our end that we have to go through. I feel, and what I tell people in the office all the time, we have our meetings and, I just don't like meetings. But what we do is we try to go ahead and put a framework and a bow and tie it nicely on the package and say, get us this list of documents, and that'll take care of everything. We still find some people don't want to give them, and some people in our office don't want to get them. So I'll tell you, it can get crazy, but good loans always close, and it makes the transaction that much better. Now, the earlier you can get in the documents, and like you said, the earlier you can get in to see somebody's house to list it, the better for you. If you're scrambling at the end, and then they're cleaning everything up, and then you have to stage the house, move this couch, do all that, that's work on your end that you don't want to do. It sounds like I'm preaching to the choir, right?
No, I'm just laughing because when you talked about move the couch, we had a client where we moved some furniture from one room to another, but they had this big green couch in the living room that I said, can you get rid of this? We need to get it out.
Oh,
get
green's
into the
not
garage
good.
or something. So we kept moving it for the photographer. We kept moving it throughout the house. I mean, at one point in time, we had it standing up on end in the corner of the dining room, and the photographer's like gyrating around to take it without the couch in the picture.
But they love that couch. Hey,
We've all had
Their
that.
dog loved the couch.
We've
Oh,
all
boy.
had that. We've all had that big green couch or the orange Naugahyde couch. We've had that too. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
Well, look, 2019, the best year for mortgages in a long time. That's right. 90% of you folks that are buying houses, you're going to get a mortgage. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll show you how to save money. We got so much to share with you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. Your calls.
Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I am Becky Alley, and I'll be hosting for you today, filling in for Harvey. He's on a much-needed break, so good for you, Harvey. We got a great panel. We're going to have great conversations, so let's get right into it. Next to me is everyone's right-hand man, Mr. Harry Glanz.
What's up, everybody? And no,
Snaps.
that is not the voice of Harvey Freed. That is the voice of Becky Alley, and she's going to be awesome, as she always is. And we have some great guests, Beck.
Yes, we have. They are no rookies in the real estate business, and they definitely are no rookies in the studio with us. We love having them. Amber Yacklin, Chris Dayton, the faces of the Dayton Group, powered by EXT. Welcome. What is up?
What's up?
What's up? Morning.
Ready. Let's do this.
I know. I'm pumped. And I got to give a shout out to Chris. He's newly married.
Yeah. Hey, first time doing a radio show as a married man.
Yeah.
You spent your honeymoon in Hawaii, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it. Let everybody know what's going on in Hawaii, my
Wait a
man.
minute, before you get into that,
we do loans everywhere.
I have to give his wife, she literally was the most beautiful bride we
Yes.
have ever seen. She
Yeah.
was stunning. She was everything that every woman wants to be on their wedding day. She really was. Congratulations, people.
Thank you. It came off well, and the honeymoon was amazing. Going to Maui, went to the Big Island of Hawaii as well. Went to Kauai, loved Kauai, but I got a little bit complacent there because it was just so relaxing. I didn't want to come back. I mean, it's only 50 degrees here outside and gray skies.
We had our
85 and sunny.
17th summer. Yesterday was like summer. Today I was like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Hawaii is definitely something that everybody should go do.
It's on my rollover bucket list. It's been on my rollover bucket list probably since I was like 18 years old. So I'm going to get there.
One day.
Hold on. What is a rollover bucket
Okay,
list?
so I think it's really important to have goals, like in life, in business, and all that, right? So every year I write down my goals and I check off what I accomplished and then what is rolling over. So there's certain things that are like I must hit, and then certain destinations are on my rollover list, that kind of thing. So I like to hold myself accountable, and it's cool when
All right.
I think if you write stuff down, like subconsciously, you're going to accomplish it. So
The only thing that was a little rough in Hawaii was there was no like Buffalo Wild Wings
Oh my
to watch.
There you
Buffalo
go.
Wild Wings?
Nobody
I had
loves,
no-
nobody
Oh,
loves
right.
Buffalo Wild Wings like this man. I promise you, like he is single-handedly keeping every B-Dubs franchise in business.
But sports they're super early in the morning. I mean, I watched the Lions game. It was over by 10, and I went to breakfast.
Yeah,
Good. It was
great.
Not a bad thing.
time
So
change.
anyway,
Not bad.
glad to be back though.
Hey,
Glad to be back.
Real estate, as you probably checked out, because you are in the real
Yeah.
estate business. You saw how high the real estate market is there.
Oh, yeah.
Values keep going through the roof in Hawaii. Everybody wants to live there when they retire, or
There was
find a second home there.
I
Sure.
did pop in. I talked to a couple people on Maui, and on the southeast end of the island there, they told me they had a closing that Thursday for $11.1 million, and it was a teardown.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's like that's like the Birmingham of Hawaii.
That's what it is. And it's when you want to live in paradise, you're going to pay to live there, but it's
$11 million
beautiful.
to tear it down.
All right, let me jump in here. We're going to be taking all your calls.
It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We take all your calls here. 248-539-9797. You can always reach us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hey, we're going to get things off here. We got Stefan calling in. A little bit about a house being built, home inspection, that kind of information. Let's go for it. There you are. Hey, Stefan, you there? Stefan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Stephanie. I'm sorry, they didn't spell. I don't have the IE on here.
Where are we?
Hey, Stephanie, what's going on?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Really good. Tell us about your question. What you got going on?
So my question is my husband and I are having a home built, and I was just curious what a recommendation would be as far as getting a home inspection on that, just being that everything is new, and is it still something that you would recommend having that home inspection process done?
Lisa Beth and I always recommend new construction inspection prior to the builder's walkthrough. The local inspectors and the project manager for the builder can miss things, and usually it isn't major things, but if you can get those things fixed as part of your checklist or what the builders will call a punch list, it's all done, because if you wait till after the closing, the tradespeople aren't available, you're already moved in, and you save a lot, and it's done before you move in.
And also, after you moved in, you're not the builder's priority. I think you have some good examples of some things that the builder missed. Was that gas lines were not in the right place?
Yeah, gas line
heating ducts
wasn't connected, and a heating duct from the basement to the first floor wasn't connected.
Let me give them so they always have home warranty. I like this. There's Stephanie. There's home warranties. You get a 1-year home warranty. You do your walkthrough with the builder, but prior to doing that walkthrough, you get an extra set of eyes in there, $350 to $400 in most cases, to have a professional. I'm going to tell you, the last new construction I built, yes, I ended up hiring painters. I think 7 years later, the guy comes down from the roof and he says he was up and he was looking at everything, and he says, "Your house isn't even caulked." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's no caulking." He says, "I've never seen a new construction. Nothing's caulked." So sure enough, I was down at the building department blowing smoke down there, and I'm not the nicest guy when I do that. But it was a major thing that probably cost me a few dollars, I guess, because heat was coming through, air conditioning, I was losing all that. So we like that idea, Stephanie, and it's no knock on your builder at all. It gets an extra set of eyes out there.
And they work exclusively for you. So they
I think
represent
that's
you.
the biggest difference.
Yeah. So you have somebody on your team that's working exclusively for you, and they're checking it out for you. So between $300 and $500, why not?
Yeah, if you're already spending $300,000-$400,000.
It's a peace of mind for that small fee.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like it.
I like that. How far along are you, and when will that house be closed?
It's probably not going to be till the beginning of the first of the year.
Well, that's cool. What city are you building? I don't want you to say the builder, but where are you moving to? What city?
Novi.
Fantastic. Lots of great new construction right here in our own backyard. So really excited for you. Is it your first new construction home?
It is, yes.
Yeah. Again, I built 3 different homes, and, just different things I was allowed to do, because one of them was just about finished. That was with a builder. But one of the things when I was building my own home, I went in there before my insulation guy, and I took that spray foam and I sealed that house. That is a fortress to this day. House is still in the family. And I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to get in there and do a little extra things. Again, builders aren't going to necessarily allow you to do that. But maybe you can. Maybe you can go in there with maybe a dozen of those spray cans and sealed up that house. And I'll tell you, talk about efficiency.
Gives you experience after the second and the third.
Exactly. We're excited for you. Congratulations. If you need an end loan on the mortgage, we'd love to help you with that. So thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you. That's always a good call.
So, yeah, I built 3 homes with Harvey.
I probably went through, yeah.
I built 3
Sorry about
homes
that,
with
Harry.
Harvey. I heard every nail that went in and every board that was sawed.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, not always
good.
the best way. But hey, it raises the question this morning, and of course, you guys, home inspections, especially this time of year, as we were talking, Sam, it's a beautiful fall morning. It might not look this way in about 6 hours later today. And boy, a great opportunity if you're looking at a house, or you've already made an offer on a house, and you got that inspector coming out there. I wonder what the basement is. Today's probably, or this evening, or tomorrow morning might be a good morning to take a look to see where the water's headed.
Rainy days are the absolute best for an inspection, because if something's going to leak, that's when it's going to leak.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot better than having 4 or 5 inches of snow on the roof when you can't see anything here. So
Well, some of the inspectors will if they can't get up and walk the roof because of the weather, they'll use a drone to go up there.
Yeah, you
and
see a lot of
probably
that.
a lot of what you can see for the inspection is inside in the attic.
All right. Well,
So if the roof's not working, that's where it's going to show up.
right. So get your head in there, walk in the attic, and definitely do those inspections. Again, also one of the things, you guys are in Northville. I know there's a lot of new construction. There's a lot of infill building going on. I actually knew one of the builders out there, and he's real popular. Just gorgeous stuff going. But some of the older homes and the older communities in Northville, they do have the older sewer lines. And, it's something we talk about so often on the show because it always is. It's just this time of, it's 2000, and we're headed to 2020. These homes were built 60 years ago.
Well, exactly. That's one of the top things we suggest is people to have a sewer line scoped. I think Kent has a real good example of why you should do that.
Oh, okay.
A recent client purchased a home that had a second story put on a ranch.
Yeah.
And had a sewer scope from their inspector and went out of the house. 15 feet was PVC plastic pipe, like new construction.
Right.
Then ran into 30 feet of what we now know as black pipe. It's tar and wood chips compressed under pressure and heat, which was typical during World War II era because they needed the metal for war production. And then it was plastic 15 feet in from the street. So someone had changed those. They had blockages, but we were able, the seller replaced it. But that was the first time I've ever seen black pipe. And
Was
it
it
was
black pipe or green?
Yeah.
Green
Well,
something. whatever.
Greensburg is where it was built in Pennsylvania. But
Yeah, it's very often that on new purchase sales, and Harvey can attest to this too, is that we have people go down with the cameras and
Yeah.
they snake down the camera and they take a look at it to make sure that it's not blocked. I know Harvey had one, and we get them all the time. Talk about new construction. New construction sales for 2019 are up over 15% nationwide. So what does that mean? That means the builders are building a lot of houses. Some mistakes could be made. Why not get that inspector out there and take a look at it, just like you said? And there's nothing wrong with that. The builder doesn't care. What does the builder care? Builder's selling the house. It's fine. And I'm sure everything, most of the time everything turns out great, but what if it doesn't? Just ask yourself that question. What if you spend anywhere between $300,000 and $800,000 or even more, whatever that number is? Why not spend $300 to $500 and have a new set of eyes looking at it, Harv?
Yeah, no, a lot of times, like you say, Harry, it's just a matter of getting the people out there. Even though the builders will come with a 1-year full home warranty, you're just not a priority anymore because they want to get the newer homes built and finished and close on those.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to get the superintendent back out there. And again, if you're talking about major things that are wrong with the house, it gives you, once you close on the house, you sort of lose a little bit of that leverage.
Exactly.
And just having a little bit of someone look at there and say, hey, this is something that I'm not closing. Let's get this right. Let's make it right. Why not? You're spending a lot of money. Hey, let's roll off to Andrew. You're calling in from somewhere, Andrew. I don't know where, but hey, what's your question?
Basically, my question is, as a recent college graduate looking to purchase within the next few years, how does student loans and things like that affect the buying process?
Well, yeah, it's a debt that counts against you. Usually we're going to use 1% of whatever your student loan is unless you have a payment plan worked out.
There you go. I was going to ask that. Andrew, have you finalized your payment plan on your student loans? Do you have the monthly number?
Yes, I do.
So that's all done, all good. You've been out now for how long? A year, 2 years? How long?
I just finished my master's, but it'd be 2 years of working now. So
Good. So then now your plan's in place. So you have a number that we could go ahead and correlate it to your debt load. And all we do is we factor in your student loans, like a car payment or a credit card or any type of monthly obligation that you would have. It's commonly done, and usually we could tell you if you're over ratioed, we can tell you how to get down. But if not, you should be able to qualify as long as your credit is good.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. What kind of career do you have now? What did you study?
I'm an accountant now. So
All right.
There you go.
There you go.
Fun number stuff, but
Are you going to sit for your CPA? Have you taken that? What did you got going?
no, I'm not going for the CPA route. More internal audit, but
Oh, there you go. Well, maybe we'll see you in our office.
Well, Andrew, I got to ask you a question. Just curious, because you're what, a 23, 24-year-old guy now?
yeah, 26 now. But yeah,
26. All right. So where do you live now?
I'm in Baltimore at the moment, but I'm looking to move back to the Detroit area.
There you
Closer
go.
to the family.
All right, get on back here. We got tons of communities that are starter homes still, very affordable, and we appreciate the phone call. Actually leads me to Lisa Beth. There's no doubt that Michigan and Southeast Michigan, even though you're in a really exclusive area in Northville, the surrounding cities have some opportunities, great communities. I mean, even just like go to the east, talk about leaving Livonia for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Great schools, and affordability in Michigan is something that you don't really see across the country.
I think that's a very true statement. What's really nice is we have a wide variety of price ranges. I mean, we have people that we've worked to get into houses that were in the 70,000s, $80,000, $110,000. You can get some pretty nice properties if you're willing to put a little sweat equity into it. You know, we call them, for lack of a better term, grandma house. It's got good furnace, good roof, good windows. It may have, you know, ugly paint, ugly carpet. If you're willing to put in that, which I think is a really great opportunity for a first-time buyer, go for it, because those are the houses that get overlooked.
Grandma's house smells like mothballs too, or
It
something
may,
that you want to
but
say
usually
that
if
or
you
anything.
take care of the
here?
carpet, it usually gets rid of that problem.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it just needs a fresh coat of paint. But again, yeah, in those price ranges, we've even seen some people have gone in and fixed them up already.
Yep.
So you are getting maybe a house that's in move-in condition.
Exactly.
All right, 248-539-9797. We'd love to hear from you all morning long. Clean files, making yourself a clean file, an easy mortgage person. Again, I mentioned earlier, at least 90% of the families out there that are engaging in home purchases are getting mortgages. But there's a lot you could do ahead of time to prepare yourself for that. And I think it's just really the best move would be to call a mortgage company. Again, this guy's talking about moving back here. He's got our number. We're going to follow up and see if we can get him all set up for home ownership. Maybe he's a buyer now versus next year when the homes have already gone up 6%. All right, so much to share with you. 248-539-9797. Keep it here.
Yeah, there's my guitar solo. Look out. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. I'm Becky Alley. I got some alt rock stars in the studio with me today. I got Amber Yacklin, Chris Dayton, Mr. Harry Glanz. Right before the break, we were talking about importance of a buyer's agent. So before we get back into that topic, don't forget, give us a call, 248-539-9797. We want to hear from you. Basic questions, complicated questions. How soon can you buy a house after a bankruptcy?
Right.
All
Appraisal
that stuff.
questions.
Appraisal
any
questions.
type of value, any type of, listen, inspection questions. Why do you need to have your house inspected? Should we ever go ahead and waive an inspection, Becky? What are property values going to do going into the fall and winter now?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask Amber and Chris, once we get into it, what their vibe is going into the fall. Summer was great, right? Spring and summer in Michigan, always good. What's the vibe going into the fall and winter for you guys?
Fall and winter are great.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I'm one of the agents that I just don't subscribe to the slowdown. I choose not to participate.
You can't. You can't. It doesn't
There's literally
exist.
people that, come Halloween, they check out and they're like, whatever.
It's the holidays
It's
starting
the
in October.
holidays.
It's Christmas it's Christmas in the stores now, so it's checked out.
But here's what they've taught the people out there. They've taught sellers that it's not a good time to sell, and they've taught buyers that you have to wait till spring to find the best house. None of which is true.
Mm-hmm.
We closed 2 houses last week between Christmas and New Year. I closed on New Year's Eve day
last year.
Why? Because people still have to move. There's still places they have to go. There's still things they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never a bad time to buy or sell your house in this market with these interest rates.
No,
these interest rates are going crazy. They're low right now. They're starting to come up a little bit because I think the market is settled. But your point is exactly right. There's no time like the present. Today is the day. There's always going to be a buyer for that property, right? There's always going to be a buyer.
There's
you
always
just
a
have
buyer.
to find the buyer.
Yep.
Right. And what plays into that depends on the specific market. If you're up and down the Woodward Corridor in Ferndale, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, all the way up through Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, I mean, you tell me, what's the market? What's the market on the east side? Macomb County's going crazy. What's the market on the west side? Go to South Lyon, go to Plymouth, go to all those places, go to Brighton.
They're booming.
Okay? I mean, so it's the vibe. I mean, what kind of vibe is there? The vibe is a strong, positive vibe right now.
So when you hear the words, the market's normalizing, okay, what does that actually mean to me?
Well, one of the big things that
Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by the LaFontaine Automotive Group, the family deal. 97.1 The Ticket.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 9:30. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Give us a phone call. We are open all weekend long. Definitely want to get that strong approval letter. I've had some really interesting calls, and again, one of them when Harry just threw that out there, and Lisa Beth, you just said it too. Sometimes I got a call. I was out in California a few weeks ago, and sure enough, hey, we're excited. You got to call this guy. And I got back to town. He had $1,500 to his name, banged up credit maybe, and things that we have to work on. You got to get your act together. You know, if you don't have 2 to 3 lines of great credit that you're paying on time, that you got to get that fixed up. If you didn't pay your Visa the last couple of months, and you're calling us engaging about a mortgage, that might be something you want to address ahead of time.
Well, if you're looking to buy a house, I think you have to go things in reverse. First of all, you have to figure out if you're qualified. Second of all, you have to figure out, do you have the down payment to go ahead in the bank? It's seasoned. It's in the bank. Where is the down payment money coming from? So you're going, right? You go in reverse. You say, okay, if you're going to buy a house for X amount of money, I want to put down Y. Do you have Y in the bank? And I ask the question, well, why not? If you're looking to buy, you need to have money to put down. So there are, of course, everything has an exception, but there are, zero down programs if you're a vet. If you're a vet, there's a VA loan that you can do. There's also down payment of piston, but you still need to have cash for closing costs, for proration of taxes, for things of that nature, for your homeowner's insurance. There's nothing that's zero. You're not getting in a house for free. It just doesn't happen. And by the way, rates aren't going to zero either.
No, they're not going to zero. We have obviously lots of down payment assistance programs across the United States, lots of different ones, even here in our own community. The Mishta program is very exciting, but you still need to qualify.
Right.
And you just can't have money fall out of the sky into your bank accounts, and you can't use cash money and things of this nature. So there is a lot to know about getting a mortgage. One of the other things that comes up is co-signing, and you might have co-signed. Even we get a lot of parents that do this. So you guys are working with a lot of empty nesters now. But it's interesting that, they think that they're very mortgageable, and most of them are. But sure enough, they meet with a mortgage person, and all of a sudden, they've co-signed for 3 cars. And they're retired now, and they got a pension coming in, and they've got set income. And all of a sudden, it's a different ball game. And what they thought was going to go down may not be available to them. So there is a lot to know. And one of the things I just want to remind anyone listening out there, if you did co-sign for your kids because they couldn't get them the car loan or whatever it might be, that's okay. Have them make the payment. That's the key. We can show 12 months canceled checks and or bank statements showing that your kid makes the payment. Even though you co-sign, that debt could be eliminated.
Well, and also,
that's
Harvey,
the key. That's a big key.
Everybody out there, you have to understand, when you co-sign, whether you're co-signing for your parent, for your nephew, for your child, you are on that loan. You are responsible for that payment. We don't care who makes the payment. Okay, so it's not a 50-50 obligation. It's 100% obligation to each one of you. The payment has to come in. So what I mean by that is, down the road, if somebody doesn't make the payment, not only is it going to ding your credit, it's going to also, if the house goes into foreclosure, that foreclosure and that sheriff's deed is going to have your name on it too. So it could preclude you, if it goes into foreclosure or bad credit, preclude you from qualifying for something in the future. So that's the downside. Now, it wouldn't be me if I didn't give you both sides. Yes, it can be great if you get your parent or child or nephew into a house, but you have to make sure that payment's made.
Yeah. 248-539-9797. There's no doubt about that.
And we did have that come up. I had it come up yesterday. We were doing a purchase for somebody. They co-signed for their parent a long time ago, and unfortunately the parent passed away 7-8 years ago, and the house went into foreclosure.
Yeah, that happens, and your name's stuck on that.
But the good news is, we thought he didn't co-sign.
Oh.
So we thought he did, but he didn't. Sheriff's deed came up. It was fine.
Well, here you also could be put on title to that house, and then you're responsible for the taxes and the insurance.
There's no question. It's an obligation. It's not. You're just not co-signing and everything. It can be great and it can be fun.
Yeah.
But also, it's a serious decision that you have to make between family members, and understand that the word obligation is in there. That's why they sign a promissory note. It's a note, a promise to pay back, and that promise is a serious situation.
Well, also, the numbers are coming in for what the fall has been shaping up to out there in the home appreciation world. The Midwest is really the shining star. The Midwest leading the way. The West Coast was second. Low inventories leading the way. And what I'm getting after is September 2018 to September 2019, home values, the average 6.52% appreciation. It really hit me when I saw that stat last night. That's a lot. Could you imagine? I'm waiting till next year. Well, you go ahead and wait till next year. And that same house you're looking at, let's just use $200,000. It's 6%. Now you're looking at a house that might be $218,000. maybe 220 for that matter. If the neighborhood is going up at 6-7% each year, again, it's regional. It's definitely it could be from one city to the other. There's some cities around here that are struggling to find their appreciation and their values back after the downturn of 2007 and 2009. But yeah, the tremendous amount of appreciation is really where that opportunity still lies. Whether or not you pick that next city that's going to be the up and coming city, or just get into a home that's in where there's not a lot of new construction, you're going to have an opportunity to maybe get some built-in equity. But let's not overstate that equity. We've had so many, Sam, you see this quite a bit too. A lot of families calling me up saying, hey, I bought the house last year, Harvey, it appraised for a little bit more money, and now I want to pull the equity out. Well, you're basically capped at 80% of the value. I pulled up one the other day, and it turned out, yeah, sure enough, she only put 5% down. So there wasn't even 20% equity in the home yet, and they're already talking about pulling the equity out of their house because they got a solicitation from a complete stranger.
Yeah, it can be dangerous. That's a very dangerous
Very dangerous.
situation.
Appreciation, like you said here, I think everything's good and bad. Appreciation can really help you. You got to find out if you're better off refinancing to eliminate PMI, or do you have enough equity now where you can eliminate the mortgage insurance and pull a little bit of equity out? So again, make those phone calls, get the professional people involved, and you'll have a really great experience. Let's move off to a call here. We've got Patrick calling in on a cell phone. Good morning, Patrick. Welcome to our show.
Hey, good morning, boys.
Morning.
What's happening?
So quickly, because so I own a small plumbing company. Meet a lot of people who have had home inspections from, when they purchase a home through a real estate agent or whatever.
Yeah.
The people calling in about home inspections, yes, it's a good idea, but at the same time, the people they hire to do these home inspections need to be reliable, have sources, have reviews.
What about licensed, bonded, and insured? How about that?
Yes, hands
Come on,
down,
man.
yes.
Pat, tell us the story. Hey, Pat, we got a couple calls, but hey, tell us your story if you can condense it real quick.
Well, to condense it real quick, I can't tell you how many people I meet that, hey, I just bought this house. They call me for something, and they'll be like, well, I had a home inspection, and I'm like, some of these home inspectors, they miss countless things. And
Hey, Pat, I think you should be a guest on our show.
I love it.
Why don't you come on the radio? No, seriously, we do. We have appraisers come on all the time. We have home inspectors, and I think you should come on and let people know. I think it's a very valuable informational process, and because we always say you need a home inspection. Now, what you're talking about is you need a quality home inspection, not just don't hire some rummy off the street.
Yes, and this is going to sound kind of bad, but this is just my opinion, and I'm just going to say it's my opinion.
It can't sound bad. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. We do everything hardcore. It can't sound bad.
So hardcore.
Right.
Make sure the place you're buying your home from isn't recommending the home inspector.
Right. It's a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Well, it's not only that. A lot of these people, and I don't want to say it, but it's like sell the house and you'll do all my inspections. I honestly think they miss a lot of things intentionally. So the people who are uneducated, or I should say ignorant about plumbing and heating and whatever, they don't know it. So they don't realize it until after they're moved in, and they're like, well, I had a home inspection. How come we didn't see it?
Right on.
Excellent call.
Hey, Pat, I'm going to further more of this conversation. I'm going to move on with this conversation. It's good stuff, and I really appreciate you. I'm going to call you after the show, actually. I'll catch you this week and see if we can hook up and maybe even talk about getting you in here. I like where Pat's going with this is I mentioned this a long time ago. You can hire one inspection person who might have tons of experience, $350, $450, whatever that costs. It's a great overall inspection. But you can also call a heating and cooling company for $75. They'll really check the furnace out and put a new filter in, whether you buy it or not. How about that? Then you move on to the roofing company. They're more than glad to come out to inspect your roof. In fact, a lot of times you'll call a roofing company and the guy will hand you the quote because he already went to the house. And I have a 20-some-year-old story about that. So not only can you hire a jack of all trades, let's say, you can hire a real professional heating and cooling guy, licensed plumber, licensed electrician, and get them all in there on the same day to inspect the house. There's no problem with that.
Listen, Patrick wasn't afraid to tell the truth.
All right.
So we always encourage that, whether it's hardcore or not. I mean, you got to tell the truth. And if he's got something to say, we want everybody to hear it.
All right. Everyone's got an opinion. I want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. Let's move off to another call. We've got Kevin calling. And Kevin, you talk about equity. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yes. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good. What's happening?
I had our house appraised about 8 months ago. It was worth about $279,000. I only owe $125,000.
Yep.
And I was wondering if I could use the equity in the house to buy a rental condo in our neighborhood.
Well, yeah, you can. For sure you can. You could always do a cash out refinance. You document it. It's all documented. And then, yes, use that money as long as you qualify to purchase another property. Absolutely you can. Now, you just have your primary residence now, and then you're looking to buy your first rental. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a condo like 6 blocks from us that looks perfect, and been talking about it. And we figured we got the money there. We just wasn't, I was never sure if that's something that I could actually.
Well, you can. Again, you got to qualify for the loan. And I'll tell you, you said condo. So the first thing in my head was association fees. We're going to talk a little bit about that later in the show. If you qualify, if you think that this condominium would be a very good value for you, yeah, association fees go up. So there's a reason that someone else is dumping it because they don't think they can make money on it. You've got to factor in all those costs along with, if you haven't been to that condominium association meeting, they might be doing a reassessment on those condos, and all of a sudden your association fees double. So, yeah, do your due diligence correctly. I like the idea of rental property. Hey, look, plenty of people have done well with these buying condominiums and using the rentals, especially in Northville. My buddy lives in a complex there off of 7 Mile, and there's lots of opportunity out there, Kev. More than welcome to give us a phone call. We'll follow up with you to find out if we can save you some money and break down the numbers for you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, doesn't cost you anything to find out if you could be a landlord, too. So lots of opportunities out there. Your city especially, guys, is really popular for that. I hate to say it. You got so many landlords in there that you've turned some of these condominium projects into non-warrantable condominiums. So I might segue into that conversation. They've turned them into non-warrantable. Is your microphone on? I'm sorry. Do we got that on? I think you're on. There you go. Get close.
Okay.
She's good.
I was say the other thing what we found is some of the associations are now saying we're limiting the number, and people who, if you are in there and you already have it as a rental property, you're good, but a new owner cannot rent it out.
Okay, so there you go. There's a lot of that going on in the association meetings and stuff, so you really got to find out what's going on. Exactly. All right, we're starting to heat up things here. We got a little bit of time left, at least 25 minutes or so. Keep it here on 97.1 The Tickets, 248-539-9797. We'll be back with all your calls.
Yeah, my intro music, I dig it. Good morning and welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. I'm Becky Alley. We're going to take all your calls, 248-539-9797. And speaking of calls, let's go to our first caller, Paul from Shelby Township. What is going on?
Hey, how are you, kiddo?
We're great. How are you?
How are you?
Very good. My question this morning is probably geared more for Harry, but by all means, please, all of you, feel free to chirp in.
Okay.
My youngest son, Jesse, will be turning 25 July of next year, 2020. And I'd like to see him enter the first-time buyer market. But do you guys have, like, any kind of a program where he could come in, sit down with somebody, a mortgage professional, figure out where he is now and where he should be, like by the time, say, a set date rolls around?
Yeah.
And then if that's true, is there any kind of a lock-in program, or I don't even know if I'm phrasing that right. Perhaps you guys could read around the words and kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, sure. Let me just say, first of all, we will love to sit down. We always sit down with our clients. We do business kind of the old school way. It's better when you get in front of somebody and you can really go over in depth with them when you're sitting face to face. So what we'd like to do, and of course we have many people, and I could do it personally for Jesse, is I'd sit down with him and I would go over and try to find out what his goals are. What's the plan? How long does he feel like he's going to be in the house? As a first-time home buyer, there's so many things that we need to go over because it's just not making that payment. It's about what goes along with home ownership. Property taxes, maintenance, upkeep, appliances, things like that, right? Furniture, blinds, all those things. But we want to put him in a mortgage program that is going to set him up for success. That's number one. Number two, there are all kinds of first-time home buyer programs. It's going to be dictated on what his income is, how long he's been on his job, and how much down payment money, Dad, you might gift him There's a hint. So I'm working for the kid right now.
Yeah.
Right? So it's going to
I
dictate.
knew you were going to drag me into this.
Yeah, we got to do that, right?
Well,
So-
you're volunteering, I hear.
Paint, all right? Really? Okay.
Right. So it's going to dictate all those kind of things. And that's why I'd really like to sit down. And then we could go ahead and match up whatever program is best suits his needs and put him in a position to succeed going forward. So there are all kinds of things. And of course, we have to set him up with a realtor that's going to find that property. So it's about building the team. It's about the mortgage professional, the realtor. It's about making sure that we collect all the documents. And then you're
Keyword to 72881 before the end of that hour. Message and data rates apply. And you could win a $1,000 signing bonus. 97.1 The Ticket. The only way you can take 97.1 The Ticket with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back to the show. 9:46 if you're just joining us with the Ramones here. 248-539-9797. We make it fun to buy a house.
iPod.
What's that, Harry?
I don't have the Ramones in my iPod.
They're not.
I don't have the Ramones.
Harry, yeah, this might be a little.
Yeah, I might be a little old for that.
They were in the 70s, Harry. Did you graduate high school then or something?
I did.
All right. 248-539-9797. I want to thank all the callers calling in here. Got some good ones. We're going to keep it rolling here. Let's go off to Clarkston and Ken. You got a good question here, Ken. Go ahead with your call. Hey, Ken, you there?
Yeah, hi, Ken speaking.
Hey, Ken, go ahead. Tell us what's up.
Well, you know what? The story goes is that we are selling our home and buying a new one.
Yeah.
And the process is all fine, and we're getting to the point of mortgage and locking in to a rate. Current rate would be 3.99.
Yes.
And the question I have is, do I try to buy a point or a half point or a quarter point to get it down to 3.85 or 3.875 or something lower just to feel good?
No. Do you want to answer that question? No. 399-83875, and I don't know what your mortgage amount is, but if a half a point equates to an eighth in rate, and let's say your mortgage amount is $200,000.
It would be about 300. It would be about 300,000.
Okay.
Put 25% down in the home.
Well, say that again. 20. How much are you putting down on the home?
20%.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Harry, that's what I wanted to hear from him is I like the idea that you at least do the math on it. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather you call Capital Mortgage Funding. Maybe I'll get you that rate for the same.
But why would he spend $1,500?
If I don't lock in right now today, I feel that I should wait just because maybe the feds will knock the rate down a little bit here.
When are you supposed to close?
Mid-November.
So mid-November, so you already would. No, here's what I would do. I would lock it in. I wouldn't pay the half a point. I'd keep that money. You're moving into a house. You're going to need that money to go ahead and the current value of your money is worth more than the future value of that money.
You know what? There you go. That's what I was thinking. I figured, when I kind of looked at a point on 300,000, that might be 3,000.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
I might not be there in 8 years.
Yeah, I like your rate. I mean, I like a lot of things that you're doing, but I don't like you paying the point money. Now, if you were saving a significant amount, you could tell me that you could recoup that cost within 24, 36 months. I'd tell you to do it.
Yeah.
But you're only going to save what? What's he going to save, Harvey? Like $18 a month?
The math is the payback. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe it's 3 years to. I'd rather the $3,000 in my account. Maybe 3 years from now is worth $4,000, or maybe I used it so I didn't have to pay. Don't have to put something on my charge card for that matter. But I mean, I would just do the math on it. Whether or not you decided to take the lower rate and pay a few dollars, just remember you are handcuffed. You must keep that mortgage for whatever the break even is, whether it be 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Well,
yeah.
I'd keep see rates are so low right now that to me, going from 3.99 to 3.875 isn't that big of a deal. I just don't think it is. If you were telling me you're going to 3.5 and then we did the math and it worked out for you, I'd say fine. But knowing just knowing a little bit about what you said, I'd say save the money.
This is a funny one, Ken. Last night, after reading about 20 mortgage articles and stuff, trying to prepare, no doubt that the professionals in the industry, I read 3 or 4 different articles. They said, look, if you're closing in the next window of 30 to 45 days, lock it in. Sure enough, if the Fed does drop, that Fed funds rate really doesn't have a direct correlation.
You're closing within 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 weeks. Don't fool around with it. Be done with it. You're good to go, and then you don't have to think about it anymore.
The opposite could
Excellent.
Yeah, the opposite could happen, or it could burp up on you, and all of a sudden you're at 4 1/8, and you're like, wait a minute here, why didn't I just lock that
Lock
in?
it.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
I'm hoping for something like 3.875, and it's like when you do the math.
What are
it
you
might be
doing
like
that for?
$20 in the mortgage.
Exactly.
Don't lock
Not
it.
worth it.
Think about the house.
Lock
you know,
it.
someone like Sam Mansour can do the quick math calculation. What's the payoff?
Exactly.
How long does it take to pay off that lower rate?
It has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, that's why it's not worth doing.
Hey, you can always gamble downtown, too. There's casinos
Listen,
here, so you don't have to do that. Hey, Ken,
Don't do that
congratulations on your new home. We'll follow up with you and see if we can beg you to come with us. Only because you have 2 weeks left. That's the only reason we're going to beg you, because you're out of time anyways.
You're good.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, my man.
Thank
Thank you. Hey, good luck to anyone out there who's actually got that going on. And I mean, our advice always is to take advantage of what we have going on here in Southeast Michigan, across the United States. Mortgage rates have dropped to the lowest they've been probably since 2011. Definitely lower than they've been over the last year or so. So a nice little window here going into the fall of 2019, where last year, Sam Mansour, rates were starting to creep up right around this time last year and didn't come back down until after the new year. Probably we didn't see lower rates, I don't think, till the end of February, March last year. So great little window here.
This is what kept the market going the way we're going. Debt consolidation right now.
Yeah.
Lowering the term and lowering interest rate. And what are we at? Historic 15-year
Right.
low.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk it. If you're in process now, you have to lock it in. If you're thinking about doing it, we should lock your rate in for you. Why take that chance? Like Sam said, the rates could go up too. Everybody thinks about just rates going one way. They only think about them going down.
They never, yeah.
Okay, wrong. They do go up. And if you're in process now or you're thinking about doing it, you should lock in that rate, because guess what? It might not be there at this time next year.
We are going to give a quick shout out to the University of Michigan football team, of course. My cousin's on the kickoff squad for sure, and we are going to kick some butt tonight against Notre Dame. I had to sneak that in since my cousin invited me. And let's move off to Greg real quick. Greg, you got a great question. How can windows affect your home? Tell me more.
Yeah, I bought a house in 2012, and my wife and I said we're going to remodel the whole thing. It was built in 1940. Somebody put those casement or Anderson casements in back in the 80s. You know, they swing out.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I don't like them if you want to stick an air conditioner in. They're going to be the cranks and stuff.
Right,
They
right.
creep up. But anyways, I've been hearing a lot of mixed information about replace all the windows in the house. It's not really going to do much to the value of the home, because they're going to pair, when they do an assessment of the house, to some of the other houses that are similar in the area. Is that true or not?
Well, you're basically asking a general question. I'm going to let the real estate agents jump in. But with this thought process, yeah, I mean, if the windows are functioning now and they're insulated and they're sealed up, I mean, I'm not touching them. I would just make them look better. And like you said, you're not going to necessarily get that money out of it if the neighborhood's not showing that. What do you think, Lisa Beth?
I think that's probably a true statement. The one thing is if they're all cloudy, what you might want to look at doing is having the glass cassettes replaced when the seal between them breaks, because that will turn a buyer off. And what you can do is you can expect them to be asking for a concession or some type of credit for, and they're gonna go after you for window replacement as opposed to just replacing the glass. So that's probably where I'd take a look first.
And you have a good brand of window. So an Anderson window, you can get the cranks.
You can get all the parts, replace
reservice.
them.
The parts are available, and that's what a buyer is going to look at. Do the windows open and close? Are the seals there?
I was able to get some of that. I actually had replaced 2 of the casements when we first bought the house. All the windows leaked anyways around the framing. So, I mean, I went ahead and said, I'm going to replace these anyway, because I wanted the up and down sliders. They're triple pane, sort of double pane. But yeah, I just thought to myself, I'm spending $8,000 on my windows, and I thought, well, you know, considering everything else that's being done to the house, you know, I had mixed feelings. Is this going to help the value? And more and more I'm hearing now that that's not the case.
Why are you selling this house anytime soon? Why are you so concerned about what the value is like when you sell? Talk to me.
I want to sell it in the next couple of years after I finish remodeling it.
Okay, so more so, and then you'll flip that, maybe make a chunk of money, and then buy another home.
Yeah, but it's a lifestyle for you. I mean, it's for your enjoyment. It's for your pleasure. So if you have great windows and other things, I mean, listen, I'm not a window expert, but if the casings aren't broken, the seals aren't broken, if everything's in great shape and you just need new, cranks, and go to Anderson, whatever. It's got to be AndersonWindows.com, and they have all the replacement parts for it. But it sounds like they're in great shape.
I think one of the things that happens is sometimes an improvement like that won't necessarily get you more money, but it will help you not lose money. I have a client right now that needs a roof, and he was debating about whether should I just do the roof or should I just give somebody a credit for it. I said, the difference is we won't get the offer if you don't do the roof.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
So there you go. Handle all the other information for sure. 248-539-9797. If we didn't get to your phone calls, you can still call in. We'll call you back. Always call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. A lot of questions today came up, but I'll tell you, 85% of some economists that were just polled recently anticipate the Fed Reserve, the next meeting, reducing by a quarter to put that Fed funds rate in line. There's no doubt that it's probably already built in, and rates could go up as you see the Fed funds rate go down. So that's a whole other conversation. Guys, I want to thank you for coming in again. You got those great headphones, so we have to have you coming back. And thank you for my adapter and all that other
Great
stuff.
show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us. Appreciate
We can always catch Coldwell Banker. These guys are great. Kent and Lisa Beth from Coldwell Banker out the Weir Manual office in Northville. They do a great job if you want professional real estate agents. And you can always call Sam Mansour at our office, all the way from Sierra Leone, the West Africa man. There he is. He speaks 6 or 7 different languages. Always call Capital Mortgage Funding, and we'll get you set up with the right people. For Harry Glanz, I'm Harvey Free. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.